everyone. I'm Nakita Rosalie for the Ethereal Spark Sessions, and our guest today is Ameen. He's a designer, content creator, and owner of the brand UFreshC. Hey, Ameen, how are you today?
Oh, well, thank you for having me.
Thank you for joining us. I love the name of your brand. Can you tell us a little bit about yourself and your brand?
A little bit about me. I started my brand when I started art school. So I went to the Art Institute of Philadelphia, and the name "You Fresh C" is like a play on the sentence "You Fresh, comma C question mark." So it's like a question. And I wanted to create a unique name because I felt like when doing like branding and stuff like that, I felt like the name of a sentence was just a little bit too long. So I wanted something a little bit more succinct.
I feel like it's it's unique and it's not too long. It's like almost like a Philly thing, like you
Yeah,
fresh.
yeah, for sure.
Um, how did you get the idea to start your brand, and what impact do you hope that your brand has?
um, that's a good question. A little bit about me was I didn't originally want to go back to school after I finished high school. I remember like my senior year, I did want to be like a broadcast journalist in sports and stuff like that. So I wanted to go to Ball State because they had a really good journalism program. But by the time I got to like my senior year, I was just like kind of burnt out with school because like I was so academically like focused my first through 12th grade year. Like all I did was like study. I didn't really make way for much else in my life. So I also went to a military high school and I planned on joining the military out of high school. And for personal reasons, it just kind of like fell through. So I didn't end up going, but I needed to do something with my life. So I remember I was applying for a job at Rite Aid, and this was back when you could do like phone interviews and things like that. Very archaic, I know. But in the middle of waiting for like me to get online with like the interviewer, which I never spoke with the interviewer, by the way. I never completed the interview. Weird, right? But they had like this person like talking to me, and they asked me about if I was interested in furthering my education, and like I just said, like no, I didn't really want to go back to school after like the 12-year layoff or whatever like that. But I needed something to do with my life. I didn't know what I wanted to do. I didn't know where I wanted to go. And I feel like I had so much potential to do things, but just not really feeling like I had any direction. So they were like, are you interested in furthering your education by going to like this open house at the Art Institute of Philadelphia? And I was just like, not really, but sure, I'll go. And I remember I signed up as like a video game like specialist or something like that because like I was really into video games. But I remember when I got there, there was this professor and he was speaking to a bunch of people about the graphic design field. He was like, there will always be a need for a graphic designer. Marketing is something that will exist forever. So there will always be a job for you some way, somewhere, somehow. And from that, I like switched over, signed up as a graphic design major, and I wound up going back to school. And while I was in going to school, I got to learn like color theory and things of that nature. And as a kid, I always grew up being into sneakers. My mom always kept me fresh. My dad always kept me fresh. So I liked sneakers growing up. So I got back into collecting sneakers around like 2016 too, same time I was in college. And when I was in my classes, like I was just making like graphics and logos and things like that. And I would make like t-shirts to match up with the shoes that I was buying because like I needed something to wear with the shoes that I was buying. And it kind of just like grew from there. And
Okay.
one thing I want the follow up question was one thing that I want people to feel with my brand because you fresh C is a question of do you see how fresh you are? You feel me? I wanted people to feel as confident in the designs that I'm making. I want them to feel that confidence in themselves when they're wearing it.
I get it now. So it's like the question is for like your customers, like
Yeah.
you fresh. Okay,
Yeah.
I like that. How would you describe your personal style?
That's tough. I really don't know how to describe my personal style because I feel like one thing that's important about like fashion and things of that nature is your own like self-identity. Knowing who you are, knowing what works for you and what doesn't work for you. So I feel like my style was more so just me doing running things all trial and error, just seeing what works for me, what doesn't work for me, adding color to it. I started grabbing so many pieces to where like I'm at the point where I don't worry about if I have something to wear with this. It kind of just fits in with my like what I have. Like I know there's something in there. Even if I don't know for sure what it is, I just know when I buy something like I know it fits in somewhere. So it's kind of like a puzzle piece. You know, like kind of like a puzzle. Like I guess like I find the pieces that work for me and if it doesn't work for me, I get new pieces.
I like that it's not like easily describable.
Yeah.
What would you say are some of your fashion inspirations?
That's also a good question because I'm not someone who keeps up with like runway fashion and designer brands and things like that. Like I can recall like spring summer Versace from 2017 pieces and things like that. I'm not as into fashion like that. But I remember when I did start art school and stuff like that, my entry point was George Marciano's guest line, like his graphics from the 80s. I was always super interested in that. So a lot of like my early design inspirations were just blown up graphics because I was very much a maximalist when it comes to designing. Like I wanted the print to be all over. I wanted you to be able to see everything. I didn't want to just give you like a simple t-shirt with a word on it or something like that. Like I wanted you to like get like your money's worth out of the design. So that was one of them. Also, there was this sportswear designer. His name was Nutmeg Mills, and he was basically like the leader in sports graphics and fashion and stuff like that, especially surrounding like the NBA and the MLB at the time in the 80s, the late 80s, early 90s. So a lot of his stuff, like when I was in college, was something that like I like scoured the internet for. I was all over eBay and stuff like that, just looking for like some of like his older things because like it was a lot of things that no one was doing that he was. And again, he was another person who took the maximalist approach to all of his designs. And I think it's kind of funny that like at the height of his popularity, like he kind of just like disappeared and no one really like heard from them again or heard from the company again. It was just like 1 year they were on top of the world, and by 1998 there was no new stuff being put out. So going on like eBay, Grill, Depop and stuff like that, like you still find like some of his older things. I really like what he did with the Team USA merch, but that was another one. There's this brand in Tacoma. It's called ETC Tacoma, black owned streetwear business. A lot of the things that they made were aligned with the graphics that I studied. They're heavily into like sports, but they're really tight knit with their community. They're really ingrained with their community. So everything about their brand, their identity is based on what the black experience is for living in Tacoma, Washington. And that was something that really inspired me, just seeing like designers who were like me, who came from the same places that I came from, not necessarily from Philly, but like just like growing up being black, you feel me? Being the artsy kid, being a nerd, being into these types of things and just fully being able to flesh that out and being themselves. And one more thing, like when I first started like using like Twitter or whatever like that, I followed like this brand page. It was called like Club 1984 or something like that, or 1986. I don't remember, but it was less about like the clothes that they were making because they were very minimalist, which is the opposite of like my style at the time. But everything that they made was just like curated so well. Different cars, clothes, sportswear, the way they took their pictures, because I'm also a photography major too. But it was all so super well curated for its time in 2018, to where now like this is kind of the standard of how brands and the average person is presenting themselves now all over Instagram and other socials and stuff like that. So that was kind of like my first experience with the wave of how the future was going to be shaped. So those are like the four things that like really carried me further into my journey in fashion.
I like. I feel like fashion is like really like a personal thing. It's not really like something that has to be trendy. Like there are like trends in fashion, but I feel like it's really a personal thing. Like I feel like even like streetwear or like sneakerheads like have
Hmm.
like their own like personal like fashion that kind of has like become popular
Yeah.
in
And I'll be the first
and
to say like I don't follow trends. I don't dress to trends. I feel like
mhm.
trends are something that's always super hard for me to keep up with. Like I just don't follow it. Like it's hard for me to sit down and just get a scope of what this person is wearing, what that person's wearing, what we can wear, what we can't wear anymore because it's not cool anymore. It just doesn't resonate with me. I just don't get it. I don't understand the politics behind things moving forward and behind, and maybe that may not take me very far in my journey, but I feel like everything that I do is kind of working for me right now. I feel like I always dress to how I feel and how I see me. Like I never dress to how I see others and what others do, not
I feel
necessarily.
like that's what it's about, right?
Yeah,
Like that's what fashion is about. It's about your personal style and like how it makes you feel.
for sure.
Like
And I feel like some people can
whether
just get too caught up in like, oh, I don't want to dress like them. I don't want to do things that other people are doing and stuff like that. When if you are your own person, that'll just happen naturally. Like you're not going just because other people shop in the same places that you do, other people wear the same brands that you and stuff like that you do, that doesn't mean that they have what you have. Like
right.
that doesn't mean that they can be you. So I never get caught up in not being a part of the trend because other people are doing it. It's just like I know what works for me and I don't have to be that.
Right. I like that. Like I like that confidence. Like that I feel like also like maybe some people might look at it as like that. Like they don't want to like be like somebody else or it's like competition, but it's really just it's a way of being. It's not like you are trying to do anything for anybody else. It's literally just you. And I think that's what makes it so like beautiful and awesome, like and authentic. Like
Oh,
when you see somebody just
yes.
like they look good, they feel good, and it's just like wow, like I love that.
Yeah.
Like I love seeing that, you know. What advice would you give to someone starting in the fashion industry or as a creative?
This is a good one cuz sometimes I feel like I'm bad with taking my own advice. I think when it comes down to it, I always try to tell people to just try. Like a lot of people don't try. They don't want to put themselves out there. They don't want to do things that are unfamiliar to themselves. And I feel like it comes up a lot in conversations with people who see the way that I dress, whether they're friends, acquaintances, and things like that. And when they talk, it's always the comparison of I want to get fly, I want to get fresh, I want to get more into fashion, but I just can't do it the way that you do it. And to me, I'm always thinking of, well, like, not to toot my own horn, I don't think I'm better than anybody or above anybody else, but there aren't people who do it like me. Like, there's not going to be people who match me. So people always assume that when it comes to like people I want to be around and people I'm dating or want to date, like I just want someone who is as fly as me, when that's not something that I even think about, because the only thing I think about is presenting myself as who I am and not who I want to be. So when it comes to that, a lot of people just have like such a defeatist mindset before they even get started. It's just like, oh, I can't do it like that person, so I'm just not gonna try to put myself out there because I feel like I'll get embarrassed by this guy who does things better than me when no one cares. As much as you would think that someone cares about things like that, I'm not the meme where the guy is like, oh my god, that guy has that shit on, and then I'm looking at the other guy and like, oh, that guy doesn't have that shit on. Like, I'm not like one of those type of people, and a lot of people aren't. A lot of people just simply don't care about stuff like that. So my thing is always just you have to see what works for you, and you'll never know if it works if you never try to do it. And I,
Right.
al-
That's so true.
and I also think another thing too is just, you know, like, also give yourself some time with it too. Give yourself a little bit of grace because I don't believe that everybody comes from the mindset of like it just happens overnight. I don't think anybody thinks that way, but a lot of people are seeking like that instant gratification from it, and it's not something that always happens. It's not always going to happen the way that you want it to work out. Like, I've worn things like I don't post all my L's. I don't post my L's pretty much at all. But there has been some times like where I wear a fit out and I'm just not loving it. You feel me? And there's going to be times where you don't love what you're wearing, but you tried it to see if you would.
Right. That's all life is about too. It's like you won't know what works for you until you try. Like you can't let that fear of what if, like what's gonna happen if it's not gonna turn out the way you want it, or you're never gonna learn from it, or you're never gonna get where you want to go if you don't try.
That's a fact.
And also like something that you said, like how people are like they want to like do get fresh, like just like you. Like I feel like a lot of people like they want to like do something like they, but they don't like try to make it their own. They
Yeah.
just want to do it exactly like the way like that person is doing it. But it's just like no matter how much you have in common with somebody, or how well like you guys may do something, like they're never gonna be you,
Yeah.
and you can never be them. Like there's only gonna be one you, one me. Like
A hundred percent.
that's
And I
all
have a
gonna be.
friend. I have a friend like that. His name is Sunny. So I have friends
Hmm.
who, friends like Sunny who have their own style. When me and Sunny met, Sunny was more of like a casual dresser, like the button up, he wore a lot of suits and stuff like that. He wore a lot of loafers with his casual wear, so he wore loafers and denim and stuff like that. Wore a lot of ties. But one thing about me and Sunny was me and Sunny, we saw things the same way, but it led us in different directions, if that makes
Right.
sense. So a
Hmm.
lot of the ways that I dressed and the way that Sunny dressed were never like on a similar path, but we had the same interests. And it was like the things that I took from Sunny is what I incorporate in my everyday wear to work. Like with my ties, how I wear my ties, how I wear my suits, how I wear everything like that. I learned that from how Sonny did his thing, and a lot of the ways that I did streetwear, and I was a pin collector and things like that. So Sonny would pin up his hats when he see me wear pins on my hat, but Sonny did his differently. I would wear my pins on one side of my hat, whereas Sonny took it and he pins all over all of his hats. So it was just like things that you give and take from the people who inspire you the most. You just have to make it work for yourselves. And I feel like Sonny is so far ahead of me now where I don't dress as I don't feel like I dress as well as he does anymore. But it's just something that makes me happy to see that, you were able to give that style, that influence, that inspiration to someone and see them do it their way and not just try to do it the way that you do it.
Exactly. Right. Because almost nothing is new, but like
Oh
as long as
no,
you make it your own, right?
for sure.
What is as a fashion stylist, what would you challenge yourself and others to do?
Um, hmm. I think probably the most important thing, and like I said, I'm bad at taking my own advice, is your output.
Okay.
Not being afraid to put things out there. You feel me? When I first started my brand, I was putting things out there like at least like once a week. Like I would make something, design something. If I liked it enough, I was putting that out by Friday, Saturday. So there was always something from me coming when I first started. To now, where I'll be honest with you, I haven't put anything out this year. Last year, I probably did like two or three shirts, maybe. The year before that, I did like a whole collection inspired by the WNBA, and then I had more stuff put out for like the brand anniversary and stuff like that because it was, I believe, 5 or 6 years at that point. But from when
Congratulations.
yeah, thank you. We are, hmm, it is now. I started in 2018, so we're 8 years now. Yeah. But
Oh, wow. That's awesome.
when I first started, I had like this thing that I did every August. It was called Drop 10, where I would make 10 different designs and I would put it out at the same time instead of just like my weekly one drop per week. And I did that for 3 straight years. Didn't do it the fourth, did it again for the fifth, and I haven't done it since. It's probably been 3 or 4 years since I've done it. But my output when I first started designing was always like, get this out, get this out, get this out, because you never know what someone else is going to like. You feel me? If I like it, I feel like someone is going to find it. Somebody's going to like it. And I feel like that's been like the advice that my friends who are further along in the content fields is always just like, stop being so afraid to make the content and putting it out. And I don't think I'm necessarily afraid of putting the content out, but I just feel like everything has to align with me. And if it doesn't feel natural to me, I'm not going to rush myself to put it out. Like I don't see myself as the guy that makes 3, 4, 5 videos a day. But at the same time, you have to build some sort of legit consistency there that will get people behind you. Because if you're going without putting anything out there, what is there for them to support?
And I think a lot of people also like are afraid like that people won't support them.
Yeah,
But like there's always right. I feel like if social media has taught us anything, there's always going to be like-minded people out there, and people will support you. Like
yeah, that was
even
something
if the
that
people around you
that
support
was
you.
yeah, for sure. That was something that got into my head too. Both of those things, like when I had such a long layoff from putting things out, I was just so worried about if people were gonna buy it when I did decide to come back and stuff like that. And I felt like the more I thought about things like that, it just doesn't go with the message of who I am. You feel me? Like I'm doing this for the love of it, not for the monetary value of it. If it was about the monetary value of it, I probably wouldn't be working in banking right now. I would be working on my brand 24/7. But a lot of ways that people get caught up is just like focusing on getting that instant gratification, and it leads to that, I guess, that crash out where like people get so intensely upset about like their immediate family and friends not buying the things that they're putting out. And I've seen it happen so many times where people are going on these long rants about like how people don't really like them, they don't really fuck with them, they don't really support them and things that they making because, like your sister or your cousin didn't buy your t-shirts and stuff like that. When if we look at it from the general scope of things, like all the brands that we wear, your Nikes, your Under Armour, Adidas, your designer, your Versace, Coach, Michael Kors, whatever like that. We have no personal ties to the brands that we support ourselves. So if you get too caught up in what I like to define as that immediate 20% of everyone you know buying the things that you don't, instead of trying to make that connection with the 80% that you don't know, then your brand will never get off the ground because you're expecting that little measly 200 to $400 from the same people all the time.
which is kind of unfair. I feel like it's kind of unfair to like relying on them to be your customers when there's going to be somebody out there that like they are your customers.
Right.
They're like literally waiting for you to put it out. Like, and support definitely comes in, I feel like, different ways and different forms. um I think that's a very good point.
And I'll be the first to say, like, I there's nobody in my family that is like me. There's nobody in my family that is mainly fashion focused as I am. So when I'm making things and I'm putting things out, these are not things that like these are not things I'm expecting my family to wear otherwise if they didn't know me. Like I don't think any of my family will wear the stuff that I put out if it wasn't my name attached to it. If it was someone's name, they would someone else's name. This is not them. So
Right.
expecting everybody to be like you when you're designing these things is something that they don't think about. Like they're like, I just made this and you know me, so you should buy it. And you're not taking into consideration that they don't they don't have the same interest as you. So
Yeah,
you're
it's not
put
realistic.
yeah, it's not realistic to expect that from them when this isn't something that they would wear if it wasn't you.
Right. I feel like people like should worry about like aligned support, because it's like it's great that your family supports you. Like it's awesome that your family supports you, but like you should want the support of the people that are like really gonna like want what you are putting out.
Exactly, because that's how you get continued support. People who are like you will continue to buy things that you make.
That's why Nike is still like one of these sneaker
Yeah.
companies today. um, what do you do to recharge and find inspiration?
Um to recharge, um honestly, I take long breaks. I take long breaks.
Okay.
I'm one of those people where I told myself because like at one point it got to a point where like I was burnt out with it. So I didn't really want to put anything out, but I was just like, this is the only thing that I know how to do. But I was I told myself years ago that if I'm not having fun with what I'm doing, I'm not going to do it. And that goes for anything in my life. So as much as I love art, this is who I am at my core. I'm super passionate about it. I could talk about it for years, days, hours, however long you want to talk about it, I can talk about it. But one thing I learned is if I'm not having fun with it, then I shouldn't force myself to do it. So it got to a point where I was okay with just taking a long layoff. Like I said, I haven't put anything out this year. My output has dropped off, but it has done enough for me to feel okay with that because I know that if I'm not in the mental headspace to create, then I'm not going to like the outcome of what I make. So
Right.
if I'm forcing myself to do it, I'm not going to like it. And if I don't like it, I just sat there for hours doing it for no reason because I'm not going to put it out.
Right. I You're not gonna like the end product. I think that's good though. Like as a creative to take a break, and I feel like, um, at least I feel like I came from like a generation where it was like kind of like instilled to you, or it was like you just work, 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 work,
Yeah,
like keep going, keep going, keep going. But it definitely is important to recharge, because I feel like it makes your work better. Like
yeah.
when you're like constantly working, you do get burnt out, and like it's important to know that you need a break.
And I'll tell a
So yeah.
story. I don't. I had a kind of like a falling out with a friend, and it wasn't really like a real falling out. They kind of just like ghosted me. But
Mm,
the way I feel like the way it reached its natural conclusion was this friend was someone who was very supportive. We both had our own clothing brands and stuff like that. So he was always behind me, just pushing me to just put something out, just do something, just put something out. And I had to keep telling him, I'm just like, I appreciate how much you support me. I appreciate how much you want this for me, but no one can want this for me more than I want it for myself. And I think the reason why it came to its conclusion where he decided to go his own way without, really talking about it was that people want to be around people who think the same way as they do. So I don't know if he sees it as laziness. I don't really care to speak to that. But
right.
that was another lesson for me that I have to do things the way that I do it for me to feel good about it. As sad as I was to lose a friend who supported me, it also spoke to just how much that I can't force this. I can't force myself to do it. And I will never force myself to do it regardless of who's behind me and who isn't behind me because I'm not going to like what I'm making if I'm forcing myself to do it. So I think that's another thing is you can't get too tied up in if someone is going to be behind you. If you do or you don't, the only person who can want this for you is yourself. You have to want it more than anyone else.
And I think that also just speaks to like you caring about the quality of your work just speaks to like the passion that like you have behind it, like because anybody can like put things out, but if it's not of quality, like kind of like what is the point,
Yeah,
you know?
if it's not your standard that you set for yourself, then what are you doing it for?
If you could be remembered for one thing, what would it be?
Probably I would say my authenticity and my generosity. One thing that's always been important to me since my grandfather passed is I've tried to be half the man that he was. And I don't necessarily want to be the person he was, but he always showed up with love no matter where he went and no matter what he did. He always showed up with that generosity, that kindness, that patience with others that, sometimes isn't always there for me. But one thing I wanted to take away from that is you don't know how long you have here. So I want to live that life with as much fulfillment and joy as I can. It's like a thing where like I just see my friends like a few weeks ago after not seeing them for like 3 months, and I kind of get caught up because like sometimes like you kind of feel like you glazing, and like glazing is like a bad thing to people where you feel like you just doing too much, you a little too Joe or whatever like that. But it's just life has taken me in so many directions to where like I don't get as many chances to see my friends as I do. And I remember I was talking to my friend and I was just giving him his flowers. I was just showing so much love. I was just like, bro, like I'm so proud of you and the things that you're doing. And it's like a thing for me whenever I see my friends and then not seeing them for a long time is like I have to express to them that like I'm following you. I see the things that you do. I'm inspired by the things that you do. And you need to know that you're doing a great job. And I need to be the one to voice that. So, like, I'm showing love. And he's just like, are you drunk? And I'm like, no, I don't even drink. And, like, but it's just like, I get so happy when I see my friends, because, like, there's no to me, there's no bigger joy in life than when I get a chance to see them and share that love with them. So I always show up as me in everything that I do 100%. And I just, whatever it is, I want for people to remember me is just that always like, he was a person that always led with love. I always lead with my heart. So I always want people to feel as important to me. I mean, I want them to feel as important to me as they are. Like I want them to feel that, like they know that.
I feel like it's always good to like, you know, show your friends the like that genuine love, give them their flowers. I feel like it's hard for some people to like accept that because it's not something that we like normally like grew up with. Like I feel like how I grew up, people would be like, "Oh, like why are you being so Joe?" And it's
Yeah.
just like, "Oh,
Oh,
I'm
I
just expressing myself, you know."
right.
This is just how I feel.
I'll be the first to tell you I'm terrible at taking a compliment. Like, cause like I wasn't used to it growing up. Like I didn't get like a lot of compliments growing up. So with me, whenever someone gives me a compliment on something, I would just be like trying to show that love back, like trying to give them like put them down and stuff like that, teaching where I got this from, telling them stuff like that. I'm not a gatekeeper. So it's just like like I find it so funny, like I can never just accept the compliment and just go, like just say thank you and go. It always has to be me trying to return the same love that somebody just gave to me.
How do you ensure that your content aligns with your brand voice and tone?
Well, because my brand is UFreshC, it's like a confidence thing. I feel like that's the way I show up in life, just period. Like
Right.
uh how I present myself on the socials and the content that I make is always going to be about me showing up as me. Uh, I'm not gonna lie and say there hasn't been a few times where like I've done like a recording and stuff like that, and I had to do it over. I'm not really like a one take kind of person sometimes, but it'd be more about like if I start to stumble over my words. I know everything doesn't have to be perfect, but sometimes if I stumble over my words and I realize like the video is too long, like I may start over and redo it, but even that is just me re-recording me doing exactly what my intended purpose was in the first videos. It's not like I'm changing it up just to
Mhm.
just to meet like some unrealistic standard. So I think that it's important for people to see me as me. There's been plenty of times where like I think people have like this sort of perception of what I am and what I do, even if it's not the intent of how I put it out there, but I'm always showing up as me. You feel me? I'm not
Right.
showing up presenting a lifestyle that's unlike what I do in my day to day.
I think that's interesting that you just said that. That like I feel like people are always, whether you're online or you're in
Mhm.
real life, like people are always gonna have their perception of you.
Yeah.
So it's always I feel like important for you to just show up genuinely because people are gonna see you however they want, regardless.
Yeah,
So
and I
like
think I think it's
just being
because
you.
yeah, I think it's because like I'm so good at well curating my presentation that like a lot of people just think like, oh, this is like he's that guy. Like I see people like the way they curate their feeds is always like them on vacation or them always doing something important and things like that, when that's just realistically that's not me on my day to day. Like I'm posting like what I do. I'm not really posting of what I do when I have a little bit of money or what I do when I'm going somewhere. Not that there's anything wrong with that. I don't think there's anything wrong with that at all. But I'm not posting for the sake of the flex. I'm just
Right.
posting because this is authentic to who I am.
I think that's always just like better. Like people want to see people be authentic. They don't want to see
Yeah.
people like I don't think that maybe when Instagram like first like came out, like that's all that people were seeing. But like I feel like today that's not
Yeah,
what
people
people
used to post sandwiches on their feed and stuff like that, like having a coffee. look at my shoes and stuff like that. Like I feel like is going from like the simplicity of it to you won't get anything, any views, any likes or anything if you don't like tailor this to everyone else's likes. Like I'm not one of those ghost followers. I'm one of those people who I like everything. Like I don't want to go to somebody's page and it's only like two posts on the feed. Like I want to follow you because I want to see what you're doing. I want it, not that I'm being nosy, but like I
Right,
have an interest in seeing you blossom as a person. So I want to see you grow as a person. I want to be able to partake in that journey, like, just like I want people to partake in my journey.
right. And that's like online community,
Yeah,
right? Like that's online community. And I feel like when people have that, like I don't know, like that's something that you nurture. Like those
yeah,
are your genuine followers, the
for
people that
sure.
actually want to see you, not just because you're selling something, but because they genuinely want to see you be you
Yeah.
or your style, whatever it is. It's awesome.
And I ain't got no enemies. Hopefully I don't have any haters. I don't know if I have haters. If I have haters, they never presented themselves to me. But like I never go through this like worried about like who's keeping up with me, who's keeping tabs on me and stuff like that. Or if I gotta watch my back and things like that. Like, no, like this like life is too like serious for
Can't you
things
block
like
people?
that.
Like I don't
Yeah,
understand.
like
I feel like
you
that's
are
the
able
case.
to curate that. You are allowed to manage who can see what. So
All right. I mean, thank you so much for being our guest on Spark Sessions. It was lovely talking to you. Um,
no, I had a really
sorry.
great time. I'm honestly grateful that you guys would even consider me for something like this. Like I said, community is really important to me. And I enjoy being able to sit down and just talk about like what my journey means to me. Like there's not many times where I get the opportunity to really talk about these things. And I wish I could do a little bit more, but I'm always grateful when I have the opportunity to do so.
Well, thank you so much. I mean, and you have a great day. And it was lovely talking to you.
Of course, you enjoy the rest of your day as well.